it can be anonymous. So that's one part I'll say is like inshallah productions are coming on this. But if I was to just speak off the cusp and trends that I've seen without quoting numbers, being involved in any type of major social group, and this doesn't just include the MSA or like Muslim Public Relations Council or like the typical Muslim clubs on campus. This also includes like the more academic social groups that exist, the social justice type of groups that exist, being involved in student government per se. When students feel like they're a part of something bigger, they tend to wear their Islam on them because they need something to ground them. And this is something I talk about pretty regularly on campus is what do you need your deen for? And if students can answer that question, like they need Islam in order to be grounded, they need Islam in order to dictate how they make a decision, they need Islam. When they can do that, they tend to stick to their faith a lot more consistently. So that'll be one major one is going to be involvement. A huge one is going to be, of course, the company that they keep. I don't know what leads to good company. I don't. As someone who, alhamdulillah, as I was growing up, good company happened to like pull me in. And I am always grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I had friends who constantly kept watch on me. I don't know exactly what causes good company, but I know what's correlated with good company, and that ends up being like attending events, making sure this even counts family events. When families get together and their kids go to college at the same place, yes, they might mess up here and there, but they have a hand to grab onto in case they need it. So good company ends up being a very big protective factor as well. And another major protective factor will be how much the parents just check up on them. There are parents who, the child, as long as they bring home good grades, it doesn't matter what they do. I have not seen that typically lead to a lot of success in terms of them holding on to their deen. But parents who actually loosen their expectations of grades, but constantly want to have those conversations of where they are in their deen, that tends to be a pretty good protective factor as well.
What do we as a community or the masjid should do or help to make that better?
You kind of said that.
As it was said kind of before, letting young people lead ends up being a very big, like, let them take ownership. I know I didn't grow up in this community, but I grew up in a community when young people were motivated enough to want to do something, we had to jump through so many hoops that we just gave up and did it at the public library instead. We actually used to hold a youth group that was kicked out of the masjid, so we started doing it at the library across the street. When there is motivation, even if they don't know the best way of going about it, letting them kind of make their mistakes is probably better for them in the long run. And again, just like with the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, there is this idea and Yaqub alayhi salam trusted Yusuf alayhi salam. It's going to be that same thing. And of course, some of those lessons as well. When we identify talented people, let them know their talents. It really does start with that at-home conversation. When you're like, and on the other side, if you don't think your child is talented, that's not on your child, that's on you. You haven't recognized their talent yet. Like, if we can really make that home environment where like every interaction with my parent makes me happier, that's gonna change their perspective of, okay, then maybe what makes my parent happy will make me happy too. Rather than the other way around, where every single time I talk to my parent, which unfortunately I hear all the time, it's just negativity, it's just arguments, they just don't like the way I'm living, they don't like my personality. That's the approach that they have toward their parents. That's also going to mean I also don't like the things that my parents like, because I must be just like my parent. So it really does come down to that individual relationship changing, and if that individual relationship changes, it's this idea of like, why do we engage in the activities our friends engage in? Most of the time it's because we like our friends. If we like them, we like what makes them them. Same thing of, if we like our parents and we have positive relationship with our parents, we're gonna like what our parents like. Jazakallah khairan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all people that follow the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and are all on guidance all the time. Allahumma ja'alna minhum min alladhina amanu wa amilus salihati wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw bis sabr. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah.